Okay, I have had experience on that issue, having lost my mother and having lost my brother and my older brother, and then having lost also my dad. Then surrounding that, it depends on the how the person is in the hierarchy. Remember, we told you that there was hierarchy in those days of a child, the middle, the other one that is baby, child, middle age, and then youth, middle age, and the elders. If it's an elder, obviously you have to get in touch with the elders for elders prayers, and the elders now will be present to give their blessings to this person going to be the ancestors. But I don't think my none of my parents didn't live very to become an elder, so they all lived to middle age. But because they were chieftain, there was this unwritten law or unwritten something that they have to be buried inside an enclosed place. So they must have a roof where they are buried. But normally, what happens to the room where they are buried, then even if they choose to be buried inside their own house, is used for meetings. And you find that that room contains the remains of other ancestors. So if there is meeting or serious argument or issues which is as serious as divorce, those issues are discussed there, or serious issues like disownment, things that that, oh, the father wants to disown his son, that's serious, very serious issue in our tradition. So you have to call the ancestors, come and guide us in this very serious issue. So they'll do it in that room that they are buried in. So my parents, when they died, they were taken back to the village, and then my mother. It works both ways, but now it favors more of the men, that men can monetize. As we call monetize, means that if they ask you to bring this or do this in the ceremony, they will fine them. They would rather be fined, to say, oh, you are fined 10 bottles of wine, so I opt not to do it, but I'm fined, so okay, we waiver. But a lot of women are not getting the equivalent to be wavered at. Normally, when a person dies in the mourning process, you sit on the floor, you wear your black or whatever or the clothes you sit with. It's called sitting on the floor. You mourn this person, husband or wife. The man is also supposed to do the same for the wife, and for 7 days and nights you are crying. Meaning that dawn you call, that my morning, screaming, lament. You start lamenting. My husband is dead. Who is going to look after me? What about my children? Oh, my husband. So, well, my wife is dead. It's supposed to be, but most men don't do that now. They monetize that. But my mom insisted she will sit. I myself didn't understand that. I said this is very unsafe. She's one of these very independent women, so she's had issues with even my father's village because of her outspokenness and the way she is, as a chief also, and the way she is. So there are people, not particularly the royalty or the other people in the village, but some of my father's brothers were actually very troublesome throughout the marriage to who my mom was. So I felt that it wasn't safe for her to go and sit on the floor in Ugboha. So she told me absolutely she's going. That's tradition. If they want to kill her, let them kill her. She's going to sit on the floor for her husband. That's what's supposed to be. So we went, and she did her ceremony every morning. She will get up and do her lament, screaming about her husband. In the afternoon and in the evening, she wasn't allowed to bathe in that 7 days. And after the 7 days, they then washed off death from her, and then prayers of renewing her life. Normally in those days, this is when they now give her the freedom to remarry. Both parties are given the freedom that the bondage of this person is now has left you, so you can remarry, and they now pray for you to have, a good life again now. The children before, especially if they are young children, so they now try to also intermediate that the brothers of your whoever is next of kin to the late one or the late woman, they try to see if they can help the children who will take this child, especially families where the woman has plenty children, no money. They will now say, who will take on this child, who will take on this child, and so they now, after that ceremony, so if you haven't done that ceremony, obviously there's nobody that will officially, and you can actually inherit in some instance if you haven't done some of this ceremony properly. They will question. But then after that first burial thing is done, normally I've diverted from mourning to burial, is done, then there's the final burial. These days you can opt, in some areas they wait for a year before they do the final burials, but these days you can opt to do it together, so it's less expensive. So the final burials is the final prayers also, where they will now which I also did not understand it too well, but I now, with my mother's one particularly, or my father's one, they will now bring the whole of your age mate. And normally the elders, so anybody older than you is not supposed to see you being buried, because they are supposed to have left before you. So like my mom's older sister was there. She wasn't allowed. My father was an eldest son, so everybody was underneath him, so they could all come. But my mother had older sister. She wasn't allowed to come. But we actually, where she was buried is next door to her sisters, you know. But she was around the place. She was cooking, doing things, but she wasn't actually allowed to see my mom being put down. So my after that, they dig you, they put you down. Then if you want to say, okay, I want to do the final burial, is you now appease the ancestors again to receive her soul, to receive her, let her come again. Then you now find that they now start the lament again, lamenting that when she comes again, she'll be better. Anything that had been wrong with her, like my mom was a sickling, you know, she will not be sick like her dad, because my grandfather was also a sickling, as I told you, that's why he became very good at herbology. My mom in her next life will never be sick like this. Very clever. They should keep her brain, you know, because she was very good with her brains and everything. So everything that was good, they'll say God should keep. But if you are coming again, they don't want all these faults, and they'll be talking about the fault. And then she was a very good dancer. I didn't know that, you know, in the village. So her mate would come and they start mimicking the way she used to dance, talking about elegy about her, and then telling her that if she's coming again, they want her to be able to dance, you know, the way she used to dance. And I found it so interesting. And what pained me more with myself on this particular day, I was so much in mourning, I forgot my camera. When these people were giving this final farewell to my mom, I thought the ceremony was over. They normally come, they don't specify the time that they will come for the final ethnology in my own village, but those that are experienced with it knows that they will come within certain time at the night, you know. I didn't know that. What woke me up, I was actually in the car with my brother and just going, oh, I can't wait to go back to Lagos. I have so much to do. Oh, my mom, I'm going to leave her behind here, because where they buried her is about 5 hours away from Lagos, or 6 hours away from Lagos. And then I had drums, beautiful drums, the most beautiful rhythms I've had for a long time, coming from far and getting closer. So I was asking my brother, what's going on? We finished now. He said, he doesn't know. So I asked my auntie. They were all gathered, they all knew. So my aunties, everybody was seated. So I go, what is this meeting now? And then they started now the last dance of the final burial. That's her last farewell. And you now saw the women dancing, and oh, the most beautiful. And then I didn't know she was part of a dancing group, a cultural dancing group. And the group, those that were still alive, now came as a group and were dancing for her. And they said this is the last dance they're giving to her, the steps to heaven. Oh, they're leading her. So she's now, so for us, they were telling me now that she's heading towards the ancestors. So they are drumming for her to get there, you know. So it felt so real, you know. For me, I was going, oh yes. I started crying, obviously. My mom is heading there. They're waiting for her. Oh, come on, keep going. But when you're going, they tell her, as a dancer, stop and dance a bit, because you were good. You have nothing to be afraid of. So that was how they gave her a final exit.